How do you work yourself out of a loop like that? Because I think as human beings, like we do fall into that.
Yeah, you have to go and stop thinking about yourselves. Our ego makes it just like all we can think about is us and what's not working and da 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 da. And it's like, again, go outside of yourself and go serve somebody. Just the other day, like I would never do this in Newport, okay? Never. But I went and worked 8 hours at a volleyball tournament for Charlie's Volleyball Club. I knew I was in a funk. I mean, Chase is traveling so often. And so it's like he's getting out of Minnesota and he's doing all these things. And here I am, just like doing the mom thing. And I got a chance to be around other kids Charlie's age. I looked at it as an opportunity to just speak life over people and be myself. It just naturally comes out of me that I'm loving. And if you're listening into Tiffany's podcast, it's because you're a giver too. Like you want to help people. At the end of the day, you're happiest when you're helping other people.
You're not alone if you're feeling it right now. That undercurrent of fear, the weight of uncertainty, the quiet wondering what's going to happen next. The truth is, we're living in a time where the ground beneath us feels shakier than ever. Plans are shifting, markets are changing, dreams we thought were certain now seem out of reach. And for so many, fear has become the loudest voice in the room. But what if faith could be louder? What if in the middle of all the unknowns, you could root yourself into something unshakable? What if this season of uncertainty is actually preparing you for the greatest breakthrough of your life? Today, I'm sitting down with a dear friend of mine, someone who knows what it's like to step forward, not because the path was clear, but because her trust in God, her trust in a higher power greater than herself was bigger than any of her fears. Cayla Craft is a faith-based wealth coach and powerhouse entrepreneur, and she is here to share how her faith became her strategy for growth, expansion, and purpose, even when nothing else made sense on paper. So if you're longing for clarity, for courage, and a fresh infusion of hope, like realistic hope, not pie in the sky stuff, this conversation today will remind you that even when everything feels uncertain, you're never walking alone, and you're in fact being guided to your greatest next level abundance. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your relationships, your abundance, and everything in between. Now, if you're serious about making real moves in your business and life this year, not just talking about it, not telling yourself some story that you'll figure it out or you'll do it when, but actually doing the damn thing, like following through because you know you want what you want and you're tired of waiting on it and you're actually sick of yourself at this point. So right now, when you commit to our most popular annual membership option inside my ProjectME Posse group coaching membership, you're going to get 2 months free. Okay. And that's insane in of itself, but it gets better. The first 5 people who jump in and go in on the annual level will get a private 30-minute coaching session with me, like a business strategy session with me, just you and me together on Zoom. No distractions, no waiting your turn, just you and me mapping out your next best move so you can set yourself up for major results. This is your chance to stop spinning your wheels and start creating unstoppable momentum with a coach, a community that actually get you, believe in you, know the way, and are going to show you the simple, straightforward steps in a way that you can actually realistically implement them and focus on what you need to be paying attention to and ignore the rest in order for you to get the results. Like set yourself up now so that this is the summer that everything changes for you. So you can lock in your spot right now by going to projectmewithtiffany.com/Project Me Posse. Swipe up. The direct link is inside the show notes or in the description here on YouTube on Project Me TV. And remember, there's only 5 spots, only 5 people choosing the annual option will get the special offer of a 30-minute live private business coaching session with me. All the other links of things we're mentioning in the episode are also in the show notes as you listen. I know you're going to be inspired to make a move based on faith instead of fear.
It's a good
Well,
way to put it.
welcome back to the podcast world, Cayla Craft. I just said to her, she's like, this is my first entree back and my first interview back in podcasting. I go, yeah, since you disappeared. Where did you go?
To Minnesota.
But you kind of disappeared before that. Like
Yeah.
you kind of went away and you came back with like a full clear glow up. Like you've had a lot of significant changes go on in your life. And not that they're bad,
Mhm.
but why I wanted you to come on is because one, I'm all about being able to vouch for someone. So I vouch for Cayla Craft. Okay. Like I'll wear the t-shirt. But you've gone through such big changes and you've been able to navigate those changes without completely losing your mind because of operating in faith. And I think now more than ever, people need to learn, like, and want to learn, how can I lean into that? Because if you don't do that, your nervous system gets so dysregulated, you get so stressed, you get like high cortisol, you're not looking cute, you're, testy with your kids, with your family, your business gets affected, and then it all spirals. So, how did you lean into faith deeper when you were like, okay, we're moving from Newport to Minnesota in the country?
There's this saying that God didn't give the crown to David. When David became king, he gave him Goliath. And if you guys aren't familiar with that story, it's like David's this like small little guy that beats this giant Goliath with a slingshot and then becomes like king after that and is one of the greatest kings to have ever lived. And that story really stood to me because I felt like, God, it's one thing after another. And I don't know if anybody listening in, I know, Tiffany, we talk about this, right?
Like literally since October of 2024, one thing after another to where I'm begging for God's mercy. Go ahead. I just want everyone listening to be validated that like Cayla and I get it.
Yeah, it's like, when is the reprieve coming, God? And then it'd be like another thing and another thing. But this really, it's like I'm building something bigger that can't be done by myself. And it's not just the crown isn't just going to be handed to me. Like, here you go. Now you get to, enjoy it all. It's like, no, you got to go through it. Like the way is through it. And I loved my life. I just want to repeat that. I loved, loved, loved my life. So it was really hard to go, okay, there's something better for my family somewhere else because I was living it, And Chase, we've been together for 18 years and he just had this feeling like this was where we needed to go, not only for our kids, but for his business specifically. And I never had peace about it, like at all, but I trust my husband and I love him. And at the end of the day, I was like, okay, if he feels this strongly, and Chase isn't like me where every other day he gets an idea and he's excited about it. Like if he's convicted about something, like something's there, So I'm like, if he feels this convicted, like I've got to follow my husband. I love him and like I've got to do this for him. And so I went like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Now I see it's been really good for my kids and it's been amazing for Chase's business. Like his business has, I don't know, 15x since we've moved here. I mean, we're able to hire just amazing talent and he just loves being in the Midwest. Like these are like his people, compared to California. He wears a sweatshirt every day and flip-flops every day, even in the snow. He's crazy. Anyway, but it's just like, it's his place, like he's really thriving. And so for me, it's just been like beautiful to be like, I had to have faith and trust my husband. The one that I said, I'm going to live with you and be married to you for the rest of my life. I had to actually like do something hard with him. And I'm really happy that I did, even though it's been a stretching of me and a dying of my old life. Like truly, I had to have a funeral because it's like the grieving is real. So anyways, and God is still unfolding, the story and showing us what's coming. But he's shown me the pot of gold, the big thing that's coming. I have to be ready to contain it. And there's a lot of stuff that had to come out in order for me to be ready for that next level for our family. I'm
What
happy.
are some things that you have seen so far that had to come up, that had to be worked through, that only could have happened by like this giant life change that you can see even like a tickle of like, okay, like there's some stuff within me that had to be worked through in order to be able to have this like expansion of wealth in my family?
Well, I think number one, it's like you take you wherever you go. And I was obviously very happy in Newport Beach because of I was surrounded by amazing people, like amazing, amazing people. And every day you get to, I wasn't one of those people that didn't go to the beach. I went to the beach every day. I walked on the beach. My feet were in the sand. My feet were going in the water. Like I love the ocean. So like just gave me life. Then you take everything, like you take everything from somebody and you realize, okay, who am I? And so I think I've been able to get really quiet in the aloneness. I don't want to say in the loneliness because it's not that because I've had God, but like in the aloneness, it's like, who am I and why do I matter? And what do you have for me, God? That's more than just like fun stuff of life. And that's been hard. Like it hasn't been easy, but it's been beautiful to be like, I like me. I like me and I'm going to find the fun wherever I go. I'm going to make it fun, even in, the boondocks out here. We're going to have fun. And I don't need all of that stuff, even though I want it. And I know one day God will let me have that again, that life. But it's like showing me that, like, hey, like you can make anything sparkle. You can make anything. Chase always says, like, you can make anything better. Like you walk into a room and you light up. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't matter if I'm at the beach or if I'm here at Ernie's. I went there the other night and did karaoke. You would have died. I'm taking you
I
when you
would
come
have.
visit me.
I'm coming to visit, and this will be this will be a show by itself. That I'm dead. We're going to Ernie's. I'm
Like,
dying.
oh
That's
my God, it's
amazing.
bad.
You
It's bad.
Kayla had some wings, had a beer, went up and
No,
did
no, I'm the only sober person. And I'm like, we're doing karaoke. And there's like one post office worker for the entire town. And she was there. I'm like, you're getting up and you're doing karaoke with me. And it's just, you just got to make the fun because life is too short to just be like, this place sucks. So,
And you could have gone down the path of, I'll be happy when, or I'll be happy once, or I'll feel better. I'll feel settled here, once, my husband's business gets to a certain point, once I make the friends, once it's summer. So
mhm.
you had to get to a point of finding happiness in the now. And is there any routine or anything special that you did to get yourself there? Because I don't think it's always easy to get there as a human being because we have egos and like our minds mess with us.
Yeah, it's so hard. I think number one is I always read my Bible every day. And I think that's like been my friend. I know that sounds weird, but I feel like my Bible has been like my friend in this time because I haven't really had any like real life friends here. And just kind of like, there's some stuff that went down in the Bible that was like hard. And so it's always helpful to see perspective. You're like, okay, like I don't have it bad. Like I don't have it bad here. Like I'm glad I'm living in this day and age for such a time as this with all the luxuries and of life that we have here. So that was helpful for me. And then I think the next thing is just moving my body. I move my body every single day. That's one thing. I didn't stop. As soon as I got here, I found a lifetime and I was like going to work out. And so anybody who's listening in, it's like, it doesn't have to be 2 hours at the gym. It's if you have 20 minutes, just like honoring your body and like getting, that movement is just so powerful because it moves emotions out of you too. Sometimes I'll just be doing squats and I got tears coming down my face. I'm like, it's so cathartic for me.
Exactly. That's why I came up with those guided abundance walks because I'm someone where like traditional meditation or even like what people think of when they think of someone praying,
Mm.
it doesn't do it for me. I have to like move a lot of the energy through my body. And I noticed that's what really works a lot faster. So it makes sense with what you're saying. You had a pretty instant, I call it a cookie, when you moved, meaning within a short period of time, you said like Chase's business 15x'd. And so because you had that, you had a cookie pretty quickly. It was like, oh, this makes sense. Like, this feels good. Like, this is the reward, God. Like, this is the abundance from doing this thing. But I know just from knowing you for quite a few years, like, that's not always been the case in your life. Like, you've not always gotten the cookie that quickly. And that's when you got to really dig in on faith. Because listen, we all want that cookie and I want it and I want it now. And then, because then you can justify everything. This is why I was called here. This is why the divorce happened. This is why this thing failed. This is why, like, I didn't make as much money as I thought. How did you do that at another time in your life when you were like, good Lord, what is happening here? Like, where's the cookie?
Well, okay. So I think you always have to just have that mission. You have to be mission minded and know like your purpose, and you have to have your identity rooted in something other than your performance. Because like, I know my identity is rooted with God. So it's like every single day I just live on help one person every single day. And for those of you listening in, what that means is it's just like, even when things are trying and you feel like you're in the desert and you're like, when is the rain coming? And you've been there for some, 40 years. It's been a long time. It's like, when you have your perspective shifted inward, it's really long. The days are so freaking long. But that's why you have to have your perspective shifted outwards and helping people, because that will give you life in the desert, when you're waiting for the crumbs and you're waiting for the rain. So I think you just have to be people focused and loving on people, even when you're not getting what you want in that moment, right?
I mean, that's difficult. And there's a lot of people feeling like they're in the desert. And I emphasize feeling like, and I can get like this too. I call her personality Polly Pissy Pants, where I have a lot of like hard stuff going on all at once. And I'm like begging for a reprieve and everything feels hard. And I can sit here and say things like, I'm not being supported. I don't feel safe, and go down this path. And yes, it feels that way in the moment. But the reality is that true? It's really not true. You sat there in the middle of nowhere, Minnesota, but you weren't alone. But you felt alone at times, right? Because you don't have like the friend groups and the built up activities and all the stuff that you were doing. But you really weren't alone. And it's like people in this spot right now where they start gathering evidence to support it's not working. Things don't work out for me. It's not, it's not happening. This is never going to make money. How does someone get out of that loop? Because there's no way anyone wants to be in that loop. I teach people this shit and I've gotten caught in these loops and had to get myself out. So how do you work yourself out of a loop like that? Because I think as human beings, like we do fall into that.
Yeah, you have to go and stop thinking about yourselves. Like our ego makes it just like all we can think about is us and what's not working and da 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 da. And it's like, again, go outside of yourself and go serve somebody. Just the other day, like I would never do this in Newport. Okay. Never in a million years. Never done this in my life. But I went and worked 8 hours at a volleyball tournament for Charlie's volleyball club.
Like PTA
Again,
mom vibes.
Yeah, I would never do this, but I knew I was in a funk. I mean, Chase is traveling so often. And so it's like, he's getting out of Minnesota and he's doing all these things. And here I am, just like doing the mom thing, which can get really, I love it, but it can also get really like, I'm just a taxi driving these kids everywhere. So it's like, I just need to do something and speak life over people. Okay. And so I just did this and I got a chance to be around other kids, Charlie's age, and just get to know them. And like, I looked at it as an opportunity to just speak life over people and be myself. It just naturally comes out of me that I'm loving. And if you're listening into Tiffany's podcast, it's because you're a giver too. Like you want to help people. At the end of the day, you're happiest when you're helping other people. And so that's what I did. I just went and just did my thing. And I went home and I felt like I just had this huge energy surge of just life given into me, even though I worked 8 hours, like I came out, I'm like, I have so much energy. Like I could just keep going. And so I did some work and like, I got excited. And so I think, it's stop making it about you and go serve somewhere. There are so many volunteer opportunities. And I think we don't talk about that enough. I know you volunteer, Tiffany, like you give of your time, and people don't realize that like that is important. You can't delegate that type of hard work out. Like you've got to do it for yourself and get back to the magic of who you are, because there's certain characteristics about you that have nothing to do with your business, that you need to make sure you're using those character traits and giving it to people. And then you feel fulfilled.
I think the trend trap, and it is a trap, comes from the devil, if you believe in that,
Mhm.
shadow side, whatever you want to call it, that wants you to really get stuck in self. Because if you're stuck in self, you're not really doing anything, right? Like you're closed off, you're usually like stagnant. That's when people start saying, I'm confused, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do. I think it's the momentum, like you're saying, move your body, be of
Mhm.
service. But I also hear people's brains go, yeah, but I also have been working my ass off and giving and giving and giving and doing and doing. And it feels like it's not working and I'm exhausted. And when is it going to be my turn, Cayla?
And see, when you're saying that, I hear martyr, 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 martyr. And if you're a martyr, you're never going to be in momentum because you have this, that's a heart issue right there. That's a heart issue that like God wants to work out in you. So you'll keep getting the same lessons until something gets worked out in you, so it's like you got to graduate past martyr. And then that's when you'll start seeing some things, like I didn't go to this volleyball tournament. I'm going to use that as an example to get anything out of it, right? Like I didn't think, oh, I'm going to have a business or anything. It's just, I want to go and help.
That's how I enter even sales calls, whether they're corporate or with like small business owners. I don't come on where I'm thinking they better sign up with me. They better not waste my time.
That's
Come
good
in
point.
from a place of service. Not, but there's a nuance. Not, oh, I'm going to overgive and this is now a free coaching session. So don't get
Right.
any ideas, people, because Cayla and I don't do that shit. Okay. But I come in of how can I best serve this person and be of service and ask them questions and empower them to take action and hold space. And I feel you can do it in business and in your personal life. It's like, because when you come at it from that space, you're right. That martyr energy is what can I get? What can I get? I better get something. What's in it for me?
Yep.
And that's not a cute energy when you
Nasty.
think about it. But I'm sure you've been in that spot before. I know I
Oh,
have.
100% I've been there. But that's again where, God's going to work it out of you to go to the next level. Okay. So I feel like when we were talking about how we want the reprieve and we want this next thing, God's always working on something inside of us, and we have to know that like we are just being forged in the fire. That's where our character is being made. That's when we're becoming, the person. Like every trial, we either become, bitter or we become better. And so I know for me, it's like, I want to become better. One of my best friends is going through like a really trying time in her life. And it's so inspiring to see that she's like, with every trial, she's better. Like if you're a martyr, you're probably hanging out with martyrs or victims because that energy is contagious. So you got to start hanging out with people that have that positive outlook on life, like me and Tiffany, like we'll talk about our troubles, right? But then it's also like, we're not going to stay there.
Right. It's important to share how you're feeling, vent it out, get it
Mm-hmm.
out, but like with the intention of we're shifting out of this energy now.
Yeah. We're not staying here. It doesn't feel good here.
Right. Like, I think it is important to acknowledge your feelings and how many people that you've coached in your career in, in network marketing and then working with people in their businesses. What have you noticed about the most successful people that have gotten the most out of working with you? Is it what's the like differentiator, right? Like not necessarily someone coming to you already successful, but someone who's had the biggest shift. What would you say are some of those qualities that they embrace?
Yeah, I would say that they take radical responsibility for the results that they get in life. And they have to be coachable. We've talked about this before too, like being a coachable person. If somebody comes to me and they're a know-it-all, it's like, I already know this is not going to work. Like I will not work with know-it-alls. I can't do it.
No.
I don't care if you could give me a check for $1 million right now. I'm not going to take it if you're a know-it-all because it's exhausting to try to get you to see another perspective, So the most expensive thing that people own is their perspective. So it's either going to cost you money or it's going to make you money. So I've seen people that can shift into new perspectives pretty quickly. They're the ones that are going to be the most successful, like today sucks, but okay, how do I learn from it? How do I grow? how can I make this into a product? Like those are the best, right? We're always going to monetize that. So I think those kind of traits I've seen in my clients of taking responsibility and then being able to shift their perspective quickly those are the ones that win.
Why do you think that there is a large percentage of people that stay in the guck and the muck of it? They stay in the martyrdom. They keep collecting, confirmation bias evidence of it's not working for me. This is so hard. Why them and not me? Even though they hate that they think like that, they don't want to be in this spot, but it's like, they're caught in this cyclone. There's obviously a payoff they're getting from being in that spot. What do you think it is?
Well, no, when people pity you, you get a high.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more about this because, I do not ever want to be pitied.
Yeah. So it's like, here's my problem. When you tell one person about your problem, you're truly you're trying to discuss it and you're really I want to shift perspective. But if you tell more than one person about your problem, you just want pity. That's how I look at it.
And you're saying some people enjoy the attention or the enabling of being pitied. Like, oh, you're right. You don't need to do anything. The economy is bad. No one's buying right now. It's someone basically looking for getting a pass, validation of not taking scary action.
100%. If I have a true problem that I want to change, I'll call Tiffany, right? But I have those friends that if I got a problem that I kind of want to just sit with because it might be my mind saying it's going to be a lot of work to get out of this problem, I got a couple other friends I'm going to call. Because
I appreciate that honesty.
They're going to let me sit in it, right? And they're going to be like, yeah, that sucks. And you've already done enough and, you're good. But
that's true. And if I really think about it, maybe now I only have one person because God removed all those people. Because I used to do that. And you guys don't know all of Cayla's background because I wanted to focus on you being able to make these shifts today because you need to get your ass in action. But Cayla's backstory, when you look at her, and you guys can go see her on Instagram and TikTok at Cayla.craft, Cayla.craft. I have it in the show notes so you can swipe up and see it. Take a screenshot of this episode and share it in Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, tag us. Let us know that you love this, you appreciated this woke you up. Share the show with the first couple people that you think of and it doesn't matter if you're not on the same side of, so to speak, faith and God as we are. That's irrelevant. So don't take away from what we're sharing with you today because of that. Okay. Refer to it as higher power. It doesn't matter. Something greater than yourself. But you look at Cayla, and I think even more so than when someone looks at me. When someone looks at me, they assume other things. When people look at you, they see, white privilege. She probably grew up with a spoon in her ass. She went to boarding school, da 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 da. They do not think what your real upbringing was. And not saying your upbringing was all bad, but share with the people some bullet points of your upbringing so they know this is not someone who just had faith because everything was pretty and perfect.
Yeah. I mean, so I was raised by an alcoholic mom and a drug addict dad. My dad was in jail most of my life. He's still an addict to this day. So that's just gives you a little glimpse of the chaos I grew up in, which is why I just crave certainty for my entire life. As soon as I could have certainty and give it to myself, I mean, I had a job,
Certainty is my drug, straight up.
Which is hard when you want to have faith.
This is my life's work. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it's true. It's our nervous system. I remember I talk about this in my book, What Do You Really Want? Because it's interesting that the certainty that I decided I was going to go for was being an ER nurse. So let's just go into a chaotic environment that was insane, but I felt the most comfortable in chaos, and as I started to have kids, I was creating chaos. If things were just normal, I'd be let's create chaos. Let's try this and let's do that. And Chase is whoa, and I've had to completely reset my nervous system and just completely reset what normal is. and redefine that. Like I'll talk to Chase and I'll tell him stories and I'm like, didn't your parents do that? Or didn't you see that? And he's like, no, he never saw his parents fight once in his life. Like there was no yelling in his household, you know, which that's why he's a godsend for me because he's like an angel. So anyway, I had to figure out like, you know, this is the new normal that I wanted for my family. And I don't want to be just another statistic, you know, which unfortunately my brother, you know, did become an addict and, you know, we don't speak to each other today, which is a whole nother story. But, you know, it hasn't been easy to get to this spot. But the way that I developed my faith was just believing like there's got to be something better. Like God didn't just put me here on this earth to just suffer and struggle and turn out to be another statistic. Like he has to have good plans for me. And, you know, John 10:10 says, the thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy, but I have come that you may have an abundant life. And that was kind of my, uh, just my life's motto. And I don't know if that comforts anybody else listening in, that there usually is like when you have light in you and you have goodness in you, which a lot of us do, I think most of us do, but there's sometimes assignments against you from the very beginning. And this was told to me at a young age that there was like an assignment against me because like the enemy knew I was going to be problems for him because I had so much good to do on this earth. And I believe that for you too, Tiffany. And so standing on that promise of like, God has an abundant life for me. And what does abundant life mean for you? What does an abundant life mean for me? It's living life to the fullest and whatever that looks like, because we all have different dreams and visions, you know, that God has given to us specifically. But anything that is not abundance is not of God. Whenever I saw good and whenever I met good people in my life, I just felt like they were God sends. You know, I call them God winks and God hugs like all the time. Okay, you're just lighting up the path for me. Like I know this is where I want to go. For instance, when I was in high school, I met one of my best friends and her parents were multimillionaires. And the thing that I took note from, they were extremely generous. They would always invite me to go on trips. And I'd say, my parents can't afford this. And they say, well, we're paying for you. The whole thing, my senior trip, everything. And I thought, okay, so this was my first intro to people who had money. And I thought, whoo, people with money are amazing. Like I want to be people with money. They're generous. They take care of people. Like I love this. And I asked them, you know, because he was like an engineer. He wasn't like, you know, somebody I thought would have a ton of money. How'd you make your money? And he did rentals, you know? So ding, ding, ding. I'm like 18 years old. I'm like, okay, I got to get rentals, you know? And so anyways, God gives us those people in our lives. I could have been a victim and been like, must be nice that she was born into a family with money and she's got it made for her. Sucks for me. I wish my parents were like this. No, I said, oh, ooh, okay. That's how they got that way. Okay. I got to get rentals. So Chase and I had our first rental by the time we were 22. And so, you know, you got to learn from people around you and make better decisions and, you know, keep going.
Do you think one of the things that makes you take such like bold, even risky action seemingly quickly, I know for sure you do it repeatedly, is it because of faith? Because so many people are waiting. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel certain. And I know you love certainty too. They wait for the right time. They wait to feel safe. And even though you have a high need for certainty, you're someone who I see as a big risk taker.
I'm too big of a risk taker if you ask my bank account.
Perhaps sometimes, yes.
You know some of the investments I made. Yeah. So I've always just I think it is faith. I've always just said, like, what's the worst that can happen? And I don't like living my life with regrets. And I do have a couple of regrets in my life, but I love the question of like, okay, if this opportunity were to go away tomorrow, would I feel relief or would I feel regret? So with an investment, I wish I knew this like 10 years ago, but I've been using that for like the last 6 years and it's really helped me not lose money, maybe a little bit, but that's why I have rules now. But like, I just know I don't want to live with regret. Like what could have happened, you know? And so I just kind of go for it. And I have made a lot of mistakes and some like public mistakes, you know, like stupid, but I don't regret those big mistakes and the money that I've lost because it's made me more powerful. And, because I could go, you know what? I tried. And I think that's where like people, they have this perfectionist tendency and this too much of a positive outlook on life where I'm like, I know I'm not going to get it right 100% of the time.
You're a realist. Like no one does.
No one does, right? But I know that Hall of Famers in Major League Baseball make it to the Hall of Fame for batting, for hitting and getting a home run 1 out of 10 times. They'll make it to the Hall of Fame. That's crazy statistics. So I've just always kind of said, like, I'd rather try 100 things and have one home run, which I've tried a lot of things and I've had a couple home runs, that have worked. Now, a lot of people would not put themselves out there the way that I have and fail publicly, like I have too, where it's like, you have the silent launches and the silent parties silent events that nobody shows up to. But I just said, you just got to put in enough reps and you're going to get the wins. And I also have a high risk tolerance because I'm still under 40 years old. So I think things will change for me as I get older with the risk, because the time it takes to recoup what you've lost. But I just kind of look at it like that.
How do you deal when things don't work and it's public, or we make things like it's more public than they are? Like, hello,
I know, right?
We're not like A-listers. I mean, yeah.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but because you are someone who's in business, who does help people with businesses, and you do a launch or you put out a product or you go after a new thing, people, I know what people do, they're looking to see, oh, how many books did you sell? How many,
Right.
whatever. This is just how a lot of people are. And then there's that additional pressure. How do you manage when things don't go as planned? Almost no one talks about this. I love talking about this stuff because you need to normalize that not everything Tiffany or Cayla touches turns to gold. Like no one, literally, that doesn't exist. But online, especially, people present as though everything I put out, every course, every event, every podcast, every freebie, every training, it works. And then it makes other people feel like I must be doing something wrong because not all of my stuff works.
Oh, can I talk about this actually? Because I really have something to say about this.
Yes, please.
Because I've realized that the people that are really like killing it, supposedly online, right? Most of their marketing strategy with women, okay? And I've seen this with a couple men too, but really women are going hard at this strategy right now. It's very narcissistic because they make you feel like you're an absolute idiot, like you don't know something that they know. And I want to tell you right now that it's a marketing strategy, it's NLP 101. It builds up this FOMO inside of you. So that way you hire them and you realize, oh wait, they don't have anything that I don't have. And maybe that was all the proof that you needed to like actually like go after it and make it happen. Cool. If it works for you, great. But most of it is they're only going to make themselves seem grandiose and amazing. So that way you feel like you're missing something and you can only get it from them. And I just want you to know that that's a lie. You're not missing anything. You're not missing anything. You're all on a journey and it's all about becoming and trying those things on over and over and over again and becoming the amazing person that is going to help so many people, But I love the concept of failing forward because there's a reason why this is so freaking cheesy, but I'm going to say it anyway. Okay. Because it means a lot to me, this saying, there's a reason why the windshield is bigger than the rear view mirror. That's how I keep going. Cause okay, woo, that one sucked. What I learned. All right. Moving forward. I just don't spend too much time sitting in the failure. I don't go, I suck. And I don't make it about me anymore. I just go, all right, there was something I did wrong here. Like it obviously didn't land. So the research or whatever, let's learn from it. Let's move forward.
And I think what happens for a lot of people is their palate for failure is literally like not there. And I don't know where that comes from. That could be a whole separate episode with psychologists. But then they don't want to do the next thing. They freeze or they retract back. I often say like they take their foot off the gas then. or they're just fixated on the rearview mirror, which you'll end up crashing your car if you do that, right? Like
Yes.
they get stuck in that. And I know there's people listening stuck in that and hate that they're stuck in that. And because of the effort in business, or even in something personal, even in a relationship, like the amount of time, energy, effort, money you put in to this thing and your heart too, to it working, and it doesn't work, or it doesn't work anywhere near the level, it definitely sucks. I mean, imagine music artists, they put out an album and like it gets like hate pages dedicated to the album, and they've poured their creativity and their soul and everything into it. And I know you've done this. And how do you basically recover faster? How can someone get out of self? Because licking your wounds, like you're going to have to lick your wounds. Okay. Like have a few meltdowns. I'm very good at them. Okay. But like, how do we then resurrect ourselves?
Well, I think it's number one, it's about like getting close with God and like learning to talk to God about these things and getting a God perspective on what you're going through. Because when you're stuck in your perspective, it's so small, you know? But when you have a God perspective, I talk about this in my book too. Like the God perspective is going like, oh, it had to work out this way. Right? It had to work out this way. Like if everything that you did worked out 100% of the time, you would have no faith because you would think you were God. You know, you'd think, I'm amazing. I have the Midas touch. I don't need anybody. I don't need anything. What kind of life is that? Because then you probably push people away because you treat people like crap, like all the things that could go wrong. Okay. Watch Bruce Almighty, right? Like we don't want to think that we are God. And so I think that's helpful of knowing like this had to kind of mess up here. You know, like I think of Chase, he was supposed to play college football and he broke the femur, broke it in half and like basically wiped out his college football career. And I think about that all the time because we met and we got married. And like, had he not had that broken leg, we wouldn't have got married because I was in nursing school. I wasn't looking to date a college football person, you know? And so I love that. Like it sucked for him in that moment because he loved football and that was his life, but it also now has turned into something so much bigger and greater, you know? So God has a plan and a purpose for your life. And Romans 8:28, you know, like anything bad that has happened to you, God will turn it around for your good and his glory. And you have to stand on that promise too. Just knowing like, if I'm in the suck right now, God's going to do something good with it, and declare that over your life and believe that for your life, because you get the God that you believe in. So if you believe in a God that punishes you and is not nice and ooh, you know, scary, that's the kind of God you'll experience. But I experience God as a loving father who wants to give good gifts to his children, who just like I am with my kids, like if something devastating happened to them, I'm thinking about how do I turn this around? Like, how can I get them a win in their
Well, your
life?
son did, was it his clavicle he broke?
Twice. Did you know he broke it twice? I think I told you.
No, I don't know. I didn't know he broke it twice.
Yeah, he broke it in November. Then first game back, broke it again.
He's a hockey player, and that's one of the big reasons they're in Minnesota because of the program there. Like he's like going to be a pro, basically.
Hopefully, we're speaking life over him.
And then here he's like the star player, and not only broke it once but broke it twice. So you had to, I imagine, as a mom, speak this into him of having faith and the God perspective, because I'm imagining he was very upset.
He was, but this is where he learned the power of visualization. And our mutual friend, Lori Harder, called when he broke it the second time and said, Cooper, she's kind of like an auntie to him. This happened to me when she became a pro, universe. She's won like 13 titles or whatever. She's amazing. She goes, I couldn't work out going on stage. I guess like 8 weeks before she was ready to go on stage, like she couldn't work out to get her body ready. So she visualized every single day for hours. And she said, you need to do the same thing. I feel like God is prepping you for your next level, like a mental. So he really took that. Like I've been telling him for years, visualize, right? And he's like, okay, mom. But Lori tells him this, right? When he's in this downtime and he goes, and I mean, I'm not joking. He had a calendar set for visualization, an hour every single day. And that's what he's just gotten to the routine of doing it now. And he understands the power of the mind. So we look at it and go, okay, that really sucked. But he now has, I think, another competitive edge against other kids, that are 15 years old because he's had this injury and he's got to win the battle in his mind first.
What a great example,
Mhm.
because we all know the top athletes. I've coached professional athletes. I have a couple clients that's something that they do on like the mindset side.
Mm-hmm.
Those are what the people who have the edge. Like one of my clients literally has a program called The Edge, only
Ooh.
works with professional athletes. The edge is what you just talked about,
Yep.
is the
Yeah.
mindset stuff. It's the stuff that's a little more tedious. It requires mental discipline. Not everyone wants to do it. It's more fun to do like your practice rounds and working out.
Mm-hmm.
And there you have it. Like that was the reason, because how else can you develop an edge unless something has happened to sharpen it?
Yep, exactly. So it's been so beautiful. And that just goes to show you, like, okay, the failures, the sucky moments, it's like, okay, we had people in our lives to support, right? And you've got to cultivate that type of community around you. So if you're around a bunch of perfectionists, they aren't taking risk, you know? So you got to get into the room of other people. I'm not saying get rid of the perfectionists. It's like, no, go and get in a room full of risk takers and see the way that they think about things. You know, my husband's business partner, he's about 11 years older than us. So he has a little bit more, not a little, he has, 11 years more of experience. And he's a venture capitalist. He does all these things. And I always am asking him questions. I almost invested in a company last year and I called him before and I'm talking through all the things. And he was like, yeah, like on a scale of 1 to 10, like with the 10 being likely it's going to fold, I'm thinking this is an 8 or a 9. So do you still want to go in? And I'm like, I don't think so. So, you kind of start to gather people like that in your life to help you on, the taking risk and preventing some of that failure in your life. But some of it's going to be completely, he's just invested in some things that have gone down, because you can't see it all. You can't know it all. But that's part of the journey. Like, I think I wouldn't be as like robust of a person if I just won all the time.
Well, I don't think you would be as good of a friend, as good of a mom, as good of a wife, as good of a coach. I mean, please, you guys, do not hire anyone that's not failed or has not
Right.
failed in a big way, because, like you said, that's not real. That's not taking true risk. That's not putting yourself out there. When it comes to trusting in divine timing,
Mm-hmm.
because I do think that's where a lot of us fall off or get like in the messy middle with it, where it's like, I trust in a power greater than myself. I trust, I do trust, I do believe in that everything happens for a reason, and I do believe in my greatest good. And people can kind of hold that maybe for a week, maybe for a
Yeah.
month. Now we're on like month 5 or 6 of having thing after thing after thing happen. How do you continue to trust the divine timing at work when you're like, okay, like, can you throw me a bone?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's also about your input, right? So, what are you inputting into your mind? Because your mind doesn't know the difference between truth and a reality. So, if I'm struggling with timing and I feel like it's so far away, well, I want to actually spend more time visualizing the reality that I want.
Mm.
And doing those hard things that nobody sees you do. But are you scrolling social media? I mean, I hate to sound like a mom, like, are you scrolling social media? But we're scrolling social media and then we wonder why we feel like, oh, it's just not happening for me. But if we spent, 30 more minutes extra a day visualizing our reality that we truly, truly want, I feel like we collapse time and we get there quicker. And it's, we talked a little bit about politics and I won't get into politics, but it's like, how much time are you spending watching the news and in letting the fear consume you? Because that's scary. I don't want to even go there. Yes, I think you should know things, but it's also going, okay, I control my reality and here's what I'm going to do differently. What's your edge in your world? It's up here in your mind. It's winning in your mind first and seeing how everything that's happening is happening for you and learning to just shift constantly. So you got to win the mental game every single day. And Tim Grover wrote a great book called Winning. And my 12-year-old and my 15-year-old have read it. Cooper's actually read it twice because it's all about that winning. If you want to be a winner in life, okay? So it's funny because I've had some wins, but I can't live on yesterday's win. I got to make tomorrow a win, and next year a win. Like I got to keep going. And that's how winners think. We don't live on yesterday's wins. And so we've got to always know up here, like you think about the greats, the champions that have done what no other person in the world has done. They think completely differently. They don't take the same input as average people do. And so if you want to be average, take the same input. Or if you want to be great, if you want to be a champion, you have to start doing some of those elite things that are uncomfortable, and I know Tiffany talks about so much of the work that you got to do. She's doing it, she's living it, she's breathing it, but most people are not willing to actually do the because it's like, is this really working?
It's
It is
so
really
it's
working.
so uncomfortable. I'm in a pretty much a constant state of discomfort where I've normalized it. And sometimes, I get tired. I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, like, I need a reprieve. Like, enough's enough already. And that's like a signal that I need to pour into myself.
Yep.
Need to lean more into God, right? Like, that's almost like a red flag, check engine light warning sign when I
Mm,
get like that, because this life ain't easy. Okay. But I do think people are looking for easy, looking for the shortcut, the hack in business and in weight loss and in all these areas of life. And you start looking for a shortcut, you're going to get shortchanged.
that's really good. I need to write that one down. You
I
start
mean,
looking for a
like
shortcut, you're gonna
it's
get
not gonna
shortchanged.
it's not gonna end well for you. Like looking for the easy way out, the path of least resistance. Not that we want to do unnecessarily hard work. I'm all about, efficiency, but looking for things to not be hard, looking for them to be quick, get the money quick, get the success quick, get the body quick, get the
Hmm.
relationship quick.
Hmm.
Speak to that because I know you see a lot of that.
It's the joy is in the journey. The joy is in the journey. If everything was easy, it's like the people who just get everything handed to them in life and never have any real trials. Those are the people that end up creating the most chaos in their adult years because they're just looking for some type of rush because it's just like boring having it all work out. But I truly believe that like we're sent here by God to become. Okay. And we all, each and every person, if you're breathing right now, you're listening to this, God has a specific purpose for you. And so everything that you're going through today is a part of you getting ready for that purpose and completing your mission. And so it's not going to be easy. And life is a blip. It is a real blip. It's so short in the grand scheme of eternity. And so it's like, wow, if you really, really think about it, enjoy the failures, enjoy the wins, and have fun. And that's where I feel like I am right now. It's like, I remember I called you like, was it 6, 7 months ago? And I'm like, I've never been in this spot before where I don't have to make money. And I'm like, I feel like I don't know what to do. And you gave really great advice. You remember what you said?
No, but I'm glad I gave good advice.
You just said just be. You're like, just be. Don't feel like you have to have the answers and like feel like it needs to be figured out today, what your next move is going to be. Just like be in it. And that was really something I needed to hear. Like, it's okay to not like do something right now. Like, just be in it. And I feel like people need that permission sometimes because we feel like we have to constantly be doing, you know?
Yeah, I do know. Because constantly doing versus allowing yourself to have a season of being, you false sense of control. As long as
Yes.
I'm doing, I'm going to be safe. I have more certainty. Also, a lot of us were taught that simply being is lazy, or we're going to get punished, or we're going to have to pay a price for that. But
Yeah.
you're clearly have been called to be because that's where those gifts of yours that you have, that next level is going to
Mhm.
come from, is from you being.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And just slowing down to really think about that next level of wealth because I know you talk about this all the time that there's a strategy to wealth and it's there's millions and then there's hundreds of millions and then there's a next level of billion and it's a whole nother playing field that to me I'm studying. That's what I'm spending in my being. I'm studying and I'm getting around next level people who aren't even online, which I know you know about this, Tiffany. Like
That's
they,
exactly who I hire for
right.
my mentors. Yeah.
Yes, because it's a whole nother strategy. And that's who I want to learn from. And because that's where I'm going, you know? So it's been really fun to just learn and be the dumbest person in the room, you know, not to put myself down, but to say that, like, I don't know. It's like I almost feel like I'm starting over, even though I'm not starting over, but it's learning and going, wow, I thought I knew. I thought I knew, but I knew nothing. And that's a really fun place to be.
I feel like a little kid in that mastermind, like power group I'm in.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like the little sister. I mean, I
I love
am
that.
younger than the people who are there, but like
Hmm.
I feel like really young. Like it's like 25-year-old Tiffany. And
Yes.
but it's
Yes.
okay. Like
Hmm.
but it's also like humbling, but it's a good thing, like being mentored, right? Like that's okay that I don't know. I'm humble and willing to learn and I'm appreciative and they can feel that and they like have taken me under their wing, which, I've struggled with feeling supported,
Hmm.
right? Like, and having the people around me to feel supported, like people I feel like I can trust that aren't going to end up doing me dirty, like 2 years
Yeah.
down the line. And the support, this next level of support, has been called in, but I wouldn't have been able to call it in hadn't I been done dirty so many times to
Ooh.
now recognize the red and yellow flags and to have a different level of boundary.
Mm,
I
it's
wouldn't
so
I
good.
wouldn't even be in this. I wouldn't have any of this.
That's a really good point because 10 years ago, I trusted everybody blindly.
I was
Be like,
similar
yeah, I'd be like, oh yeah, okay.
because
Yeah,
you're a
here's my money.
trustworthy good person. So why would someone else do this?
Right. But you realize that some people were lessons in your life, and sometimes you're the lesson in other people's lives, in different ways. But it's an exciting place to be. And I think if you're not failing, if you're not having those sucky moments, you're dying. Truly. Like you're on your way out. So embrace being a beginner, embrace trying something new, because that's what I feel like people say, what do you want it to be like when you meet God? People say, I want him to say, well done. I want him to tell me good try. Like good try, because I want to say I tried. I tried all of the things. Like I thought this was right. I did it. It was wrong, but you knew my heart, God. And I really truly believe at the end of the day, that's what God looks at is our heart and our intent behind all the things that we do. And I could say everything that I've done in my life, even the mistakes I've made, none of it was done with a malicious heart. Everything was with a good intention of wanting good things for good people, and sometimes it doesn't always work out, but I don't regret most of the things.
I feel the same way. I may regret not investing in Netflix when I said, who the hell would want a DVD delivered to their house? Thank you, Tiffany Carter.
Wow.
That's
You
how
were one of those.
I
I don't
was.
even I don't
I
I didn't.
couldn't comprehend it. I was a Blockbuster girl diehard. Like I was
Mhm.
like, this is a date night. It's an experience. Who wants to take that away and have DVDs just delivered to your mailbox? And like, then the DVD is going to break and like, what a pain in the butt. And I was
You know
asked,
what? I do miss those days though.
you missed the Blockbuster
I
days?
do. Like it was an experience. You
It's
get the
nostalgic.
popcorn.
They
Yeah.
have in LA, they actually have like a nostalgic like Blockbuster experience that I went to. It's very cute. I was into
Oh,
it.
I
Yeah, it
love
is.
that.
I mean, it's a business idea, you guys. We could bring some stuff back.
Mm-hmm.
So in wrapping this up, I would love it if you could share a couple things like actions that people could take, because I know where most people end up like getting back into the trap. They listen to the episode, they feel so good, their nervous system feels calmer from listening to us, they have renewed hope and faith again, and then they go, okay, now what am I supposed to do? And I feel like we need to give the doers something to do.
Mm.
What would you
Okay.
give them to do?
So I have like 5 things that are coming to mind. I know I'm an
Of course you
overachiever.
do.
I'm an overachiever. Number one, I think music is so beautiful. And a lot of us are listening to bad music, like stuff that just like, why are we listening to this? Okay. I love Forrest Frank. Have you ever heard of him?
No, but I'm writing it
Okay.
down.
Okay. So that's number one. I just want people to listen to like a playlist of Forrest Frank because it just puts you in a good mood and It's like good input. Okay. When we're talking about good input, all right, it makes you want to dance and just be happy. Number two, I want you to build your personal brand. Okay. Build your personal brand. And that means that you are the sauce, you are the vibe, you are it. Okay. Nobody knows you better than you. And so sometimes you need to be reminded that you are God's gift to this world. And you give it to people through being a personal brand online. Okay. And I know Tiffany has a ton of stuff on this, so I'm not going to go into detail, but invest in your personal brand and show up and be the creator. God teaches us that in Genesis, in the Bible, where he created the world and we are made in his image. So we are creators. And a lot of us have become consumers instead. So we got to create. Okay. Put stuff out there. And then number three, it's get into nature. Nature is so healing. And so anytime you're in a funk, just get outside, go walk, go be outside. Even this winter, even though it was like negative 12 degrees, I went and you should see me. I got to show you photos. I mean, I was just like packed on with this stuff. I think they're called gaiters, where they cover your entire face except your eyes.
Dying.
But I was like, I'm getting outside. Like I need fresh air, and it just changes your mood. It just does, So getting in nature. Invest in people, because your relationship capital is everything. It's not what it is who always. And so always look to invest in people, like give, and serve, because it ends up coming back to you in some way, even if it's just filling up your heart, or helping you build a business later on. Chase, that is why Chase has had the insane amount of growth that he has had. It's because of our network. And just, we've been pouring into people for 15 years, ever since we became entrepreneurs, and it's giving back, right? So invest in people. And then the last thing I would say is, invest in a mentor. So I know Tiffany has a program. I don't know if it's open, but I don't think it is. But
my spring applications are open right now.
Oh, okay. Spring out. See, perfect timing. She didn't tell me to do this, by the way. But invest in people. Like, you're listening to Tiffany's podcast because something about her moves you, right? In your spirit. And when you get to work with, even, I think she only does like 60, 90 days, right? It's a short, don't you do like
2 months.
And it's like that little season with Tiffany could change your entire life, because not only is she going to help you with your business, but she's going to point out the blind spots. And that is what really good mentors will do for you. They're going to show you things that you cannot see by yourself. And when you can know what your blind spots are, it's not that you're going to go, oh, I'm going to get stronger and not have any blind spots. It's just, no, those are my blind spots. And the more self-aware you are, the more money you're going to make, period. End of story. So I would say you got to invest in mentorship, and obviously do it with Tiffany, because she's the best.
Well, what if someone wants to learn from you?
Well, that can happen, but I'm taking on many projects, so they have to be people that I feel like really God has like brought into my life. But okay. Yes.
But like, let's say someone from this episode feels called. What would you suggest for them to do if they really want to work with you and they feel called?
Yeah, just DM me on Instagram, and I have an application on my website too. But it's just like more about, I don't want people to come to me and feel like things are going to happen overnight, because that's not how it works with mentorship. I know, like, the first coach I hired 10 years ago, I'm still using some of the principles that he taught me all those years ago, and like, that's how good, like, if you're working with a good mentor, you're going to get paid back for life, But
I work with the people I hire. I'm not like one and done. I work with them for years.
It's like, so many people have that one and done mentality.
I think it comes back to the whole, like, it's easy, it's quick, that all I have to do is this one thing for this one period of time with this one person or this one program, and then I'm going to get blank. And if I don't get blank, then the person or the program was wrong.
Right.
And I'm not saying there aren't scams out there. Okay. Like, we know there are people who are
we're going to make a
black
book of the scams.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of that. But since when did doing one workout, one health program, one style of parenting. Like, since when did one
Right.
thing, since when is that like the end all be all? It's really strange to me where that comes from. But I mean, just a fun bonus thing, you guys, that is a big part of your problem, is that
Man.
you're looking for that, because then you're also looking for your own business to go, oh, I'm just going to put out this one course, this one class, this one event, and that's got to be it, and that's got to work. And that's not the energy to go in with it. Then I can tell you, God will make sure it doesn't work. I know, because I've done this.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Totally.
I'm like, okay, I see what I did. It's ego.
Mm-hmm. Ego edging God out.
Yeah, it's being an ego of, this has to be it. This has to work. I don't want to be uncomfortable. I only want to invest this much. I don't want to have to do any more than this.
Mm-hmm.
I. Where is your higher power in that?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys better do something with this information today. And Cayla gave you very clear actions to take. So you can't use the story of, I love this, I don't know what to do. Take a damn screenshot. Share this on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Tag us at, me, Project Me with Tiffany, at Cayla Craft, CAYLA.CRAFT. Everything is in the show notes. I'll also put in the show notes, Forrest Frank and your book as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Forrest
to talk about that.
I'm like dying, like Forrest Frank. Like, this is the most random name. And now I'm like, what is this vibe going to be? I can't, now I'm super excited to try it. We're going to create.
I'm the queen of random. If there's something you want to know, you can probably text me and I know it.
This is true. I text her very random things and medical symptoms, even though she's not a doctor, but she was an ER nurse. She's like, yeah, she's like, that's probably not good.
I love it. I love my
Thank
life.
you for coming on and just sharing so humbly and beautifully. And right now, I do feel like we're both being called to be of service for the greater good for people who've just like gotten a little stuck in it,
Mm-hmm.
and to bump them out of it, right? Like, we all
Yes.
get stuck in it sometimes. That's okay. But
Mm-hmm.
we can only help the collective and the greater good of the world, not by us being stuck in it. It's by us getting out of it. And I hope that this episode did that for you guys today.